The plate of pancakes hit the table with a clatter, syrup dripping like liquid gold under the morning sun. I froze, fork midair, as a tiny voice piped up, "Papa, more juice." My eyes darted to the toddler in the high chair, her chubby hands waving a sippy cup, and then to her dadmy new roommate, Eli, whose face had gone as red as the strawberries on his plate. This was not how I expected my first week in Portland to start. Moving across the country to escape a past that clung like damp fog, I'd answered a Craigslist ad for a roommate, expecting a quiet guy, maybe a student or a barista. Instead, I got Eli, 6'2", bearded, with hands calloused from carpentry and a 2-year-old daughter, Mia, who now stared at me like I'd hung the moon. I wasn't ready for any of it. Not the kid. Not the way Eli's hazel eyes lingered on me. And definitely not the word, "Papa," ringing in my ears like a bell I couldn't unhear. I'm Jasper, 30. A graphic designer with a knack for overthinking and a heart still bruised from a breakup that left me swearing off love. Portland was supposed to be my fresh start, a city of rain and coffee and anonymity. The ad said furnished room, quiet house, single dad, kid-friendly. I figured I could handle a kid. I'd babysat cousins, after all. But nothing prepared me for Mia's giggle or the way Eli's voice softened when he talked to her, like he was pouring his whole soul into every word. That first morning, I'd stumbled into the kitchen, jet-lagged and bleary, to find Eli flipping pancakes while Mia babbled about her stuffed dinosaur. He'd looked up, his smile hesitant but warm, and offered me a plate. "Hope you like blueberry," he'd said, his voice low, like he was testing the waters. I'd nodded, too tired to overanalyze the way his gaze held mine a beat too long. We ate together, Mia smearing syrup on her cheeks, and I'd laughed for the first time in weeks. Then she'd said it, "Papa," and the room went still. Eli coughed, setting his fork down. She does that sometimes. Calls people what she hears at daycare. His eyes flicked to mine, searching, maybe hoping I wouldn't bolt. I wanted to. I wanted to run back to my room, pack my bags, and find a new place where no one looked at me like I could be part of something bigger. But Mia grinned, her tiny teeth sticky with syrup, and I felt my resolve crack. I'm cool with it, I stammered, my face hot. She's cute. Understatement of the century. Mia was a whirlwind of curls and mischief, her brown eyes mirroring Eli's in a way that made my chest ache. Eli relaxed, just a fraction, and poured her more juice. "Thanks, Jasper," he said, and my name in his mouth felt like a song I didn't know I needed. The rest of breakfast was a blur of small talk and Mia's chatter. Eli told me he'd been raising her alone since her mom left when she was 6 months old. "Just us two," he said, ruffling her hair. "And now you, I guess." He laughed, but there was a weight to it, like he was carrying more than he let on. I wanted to ask, but I didn't. Not yet. Over the next few days, I settled into the rhythm of the house. Eli worked early, leaving Mia with a neighbor before daycare. I'd find traces of him everywhere, a toolbox by the door, a flannel shirt draped over a chair, a sketch of a wooden chair on the counter. He was a carpenter, building custom furniture for local shops, and his hands told stories of splinters and sawdust. I caught myself watching those hands, the way they moved with quiet confidence, and hated how it made my pulse race. One evening, After Mia was asleep, Eli offered me a beer on the porch. The air was crisp, the city humming faintly beyond the trees. "So, why Portland?" he asked, his voice soft but curious. I shrugged, sipping my drink to avoid the truth. "Needed a change," I said, which wasn't a lie but wasn't the whole story. My ex, Ryan, had left me for someone less complicated. His words still a knife in my gut. I didn't say that. Instead, I asked, "Why do you stay here?" Eli leaned back, his profile sharp against the porch light. "Mia, this is home. Her mom, she didn't want this life. I do." His voice cracked, just slightly, and I saw the weight again, the kind that comes from loving someone so fiercely you'd break yourself to keep them safe. I wanted to reach out, to touch his arm, but I didn't. I just nodded, letting the silence hold us. By the end of the week, Mia had me wrapped around her tiny finger. She'd tug me to her play corner, demanding I draw dinosaurs or build block towers. Eli would watch, his smile soft, and I'd catch him looking when he thought I wasn't. It was dangerous, this feeling like I was falling into something I couldn't control. I'd sworn off love, but every time Eli laughed or Mia called me Papa, my walls crumbled a little more. One night, as I helped Eli clean up after dinner, our hands brushed over a dish. Neither of us pulled away. His eyes met mine, and for a moment, the world was just us two broken people standing in a kitchen, daring to hope. "You're good with her," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "She doesn't trust people easily." I swallowed, my throat tight. "Neither do I," I admitted. That was the moment I knew I was in trouble. Not just with Mia, but with Eli. With the way he made me feel like I could be more than the guy who ran from his past. But trouble has a way of finding you. And as I lay awake that night, I couldn't shake the feeling that this whatever it was won't be easy. The next morning, I woke to the smell of coffee and the sound of Mia's laughter. Eli was in the kitchen, juggling a spatula and a sippy cup, his hair still damp from a shower. "Morning," he said, his smile brighter than the sun streaming through the window. I mumbled a reply, my heart doing that stupid flip it did around him lately. I needed to get a grip. But then Mia ran over, hugging my leg, and called me Papa again. Eli laughed, but his eyes held something deeper, something that scared me as much as it thrilled me. Life in the house settled into a rhythm, but it wasn't smooth. I was falling for Eli, and it terrified me. I'd catch him stealing glances, his fingers lingering when he handed me a mug. And every time, I'd remind myself, don't get attached. My last relationship had ended in ashes, and I wasn't sure I could survive another fire. But Eli was different. He wasn't just a guy. He was a dad. A man who'd built a life for his daughter despite the world trying to break him. One afternoon, while Mia napped, Eli asked me to help him in his workshop. It was a shed behind the house, cluttered with tools and half-finished furniture. He showed me a rocking chair he was carving, his hands steady as he traced the wood's grain. "This is for Mia," he said, "for when she's older. Something to remember me by." His voice was soft, but there was a shadow in it, like he was scared he wouldn't be around forever. I wanted to ask why, but instead, I picked up a piece of sandpaper and helped him smooth the wood. Our shoulders brushed, and neither of us moved away. That night, Eli opened up. We were on the couch, Mia asleep upstairs, a half-empty pizza box between us. Her mom. Sarah. She didn't want to be a mom, he said, staring at his hands. She left us. And I thought I'd failed Mia. Still do. Sometimes. His voice broke. And I couldn't stop myself. I reached out, my hand covering his. He didn't pull away. Instead, he turned his palm up, lacing our fingers together. You're doing enough, I said, my voice thick. More than enough. He looked at me then, his eyes raw with something I couldn't name. You make it feel like I'm not alone, he whispered. My heart pounded, and before I could think, I leaned in. Our lips met, soft at first, then desperate, like we'd both been holding our breath for too long. It was a kiss that tasted of hope and fear, of everything we weren't saying. When we pulled back, his forehead rested against mine, and he smiled a real, unguarded smile. I didn't expect you, Jasper, he said. But trouble was never far. The next day, I got a call from Ryan, my ex. He was in Portland, wanted to talk. I didn't want to see him, but he showed up at the house uninvited, his polished smile as fake as ever. Eli was at work, Mia at daycare, and I was alone when Ryan knocked. You look good, Jazz, he said, stepping too close. I backed away, my stomach twisting. He wanted me back, he said, but his words were all charm and no substance. Just like before. I told him to leave, but he lingered, his presence a reminder of every doubt I'd carried across the country. When Eli got home, he found me on the porch, shaken. I told him about Ryan, about the breakup that had shattered me. Eli listened, his jaw tight, and when I finished, he pulled me into a hug. You're not that guy anymore, he said fiercely. You're here, with us. His arms were solid, grounding, and for the first time, I believed I could let go of the past. But Ryan wasn't done. He started texting, calling, showing up at my work. One evening, he cornered me outside the house, his voice low and cruel. You think you can play house with some single dad? You're not cut out for this, Jasper. His words hit every insecurity I tried to bury. I pushed past him, my hands shaking. But when I got inside, Mia ran to me, her arms wide. Papa, she squealed, and Ryan's venom dissolved in her warmth. Eli saw the exchange from the window. He stepped outside, his voice calm but steel-edged. Leave him alone, he told Ryan, standing between us like a shield. Ryan smirked but backed off. And when Eli turned to me, his eyes were fire and tenderness all at once. You okay? He asked. I nodded. But I wasn't. Not really. Because I was falling in love. And it felt like standing on the edge of a cliff. The days that followed were a tightrope walk between joy and fear. Eli and I grew closer, stealing moments when Mia was asleep, quiet kisses in the kitchen, hands brushing on the couch. But Ryan's shadow lingered. He didn't show up again, but his texts kept coming, each one a needle in my confidence. You'll screw this up, he wrote once. I deleted it, but the word stuck. One rainy afternoon, Eli took me to a park with Mia. She splashed in puddles, her rain boots bright yellow, while we watched from a bench. I want this, Eli said suddenly, his hand finding mine. You, me, her. A family. His voice was steady, but his eyes searched mine, waiting for me to run. I wanted to say yes, to leap into this life with him, but fear held me back. What if I wasn't enough? What if I hurt them? That night, I found Eli in his workshop, sanding the rocking chair. "You're scared," he said, not looking up. "I see it. I'm scared too." He set the sandpaper down, his hands steady as he faced me. "I've lost before. Jasper. Sarah. My parents, they all left. But you make me believe I won't lose again." His words broke something in me, and I kissed him. Hard. Like I could pour every fear and hope into it. The next week, Ryan showed up one last time. I was alone, grabbing groceries from my car. When he appeared, "You're not good enough for them," he said, his voice dripping with venom. "You never were." I froze, the old wounds opening. But then I heard Mia's laugh from inside the house. Eli's voice singing her a lullaby. They were my home now, not him. "You're wrong," I said, my voice steady for the first time. "I'm exactly where I belong." I walked away, leaving him in the rain. That night, I told Eli everything, Ryan's words, my fears, the way I doubted myself. He listened, then pulled me close. "You're enough," he said. "For Mia. For me." His kiss was a promise, and I let myself believe it. Months later, we were a family not perfect, but real. Mia's third birthday was a chaos of balloons and cake, her laughter filling the house. She called me Papa every day now, and each time, it felt less like a mistake and more like a gift. Eli and I were building something, piece by piece, like one of his chairs. It wasn't easy. There were fights, doubts, nights when the past crept in, but we faced it together. One evening, as we tucked Mia into bed, she grabbed both our hands. "Love you, Papa. Love you, Daddy," she said, her eyes heavy with sleep. Eli looked at me, his smile soft and sure, and I knew we'd made it through the storm. Love wasn't a guarantee, but it was a choice, one we made every day. In every touch, every laugh, every moment, we chose each other. The rocking chair sat in the corner of her room, finished now, a symbol of Eli's love for her and ours for each other. I'd come to Portland to escape, but I'd found something better, a family. Unexpected and imperfect, but mine. And as I watched Eli kiss me his forehead, I realized the past didn't define me anymore. The Seuss was my future.